Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Pod Save Chocolate. My name is Clay Gordon. I'm your host, and today I'm excited to be inviting a whole group of people who are going to be participating in this year's Salon du Chocolat in New York City. And so I want to begin by bringing Sharona up on stage. I'm just going to bring everybody up on stage because it's going to be easier to do that than anything else. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
How are you all today?
Hi. Good morning. How are you?
Right. I'm doing fabulous. I'm great. I'm meeting many of you I think for Sharona, I'm meeting all of you for the first time. And this is, really, really exciting for me. And to introduce everybody to the Salon in New York City this year and to you who are going to be exhibiting there. But before we begin, 2 points. Number one is anybody who is watching can go into the comments or the live chat replay on YouTube, and they can let us know where in the world they're connecting from. Right? Or what they can do is if they have a question or a comment they'd like to ask of any of our guests, they can go do that as well. And so, listen, we have somebody else who's just joined us, Mona from Amore de Mona. But I want to start off, Sharona, with you. You're with the company that is organizing the salon this year. And so can you tell us a little bit about the history of the salon and what's going on this year and what's new and what's different and what people can expect as a part of the salon this year?
Absolutely. Well, hi, my name is Sharona Sandberg. I'm the show manager for Salon du Chocolat New York. We are part of the global brand of Salon du Chocolat. I work in Atlanta. That's where I'm based. And I'm normally doing trade shows. I normally do fashion apparel trade shows. We decided to branch out in October of 2023 when we were approached to see if we wanted to bring the show back to New York. The first Salon du Chocolat in Paris started in 1993. The second one, the only one that was taken outside of Paris, was the New York show, and that was in 1998. It ran consecutively at a few different venues throughout New York until 2012. That was when Hurricane Sandy happened. They went on hiatus, came back in 2019. COVID hit. We all know what happens when COVID hits. And so this is our very first time with Salon du Chocolat New York. Very, very excited. I had to go on a strict learning curve as soon as we got this show. Normally my shows are B2B. And I normally don't do any kind of food shows, but it has been exciting. It has been just a whirlwind ride. The first thing I did was reach out to anybody who had been associated with the show back when it was in New York. And you guys, some of you might have remembered it as the Chocolate Show, because that's what it was called for the first little bit while it was in New York. And then they switched to the official Salon du Chocolat New York name. So reaching out to everybody, Tina Wright, who is doing the fashion showcase in the Culinary Theater, Haya Mulberg, who was part of the show back in the day, and just a lot of people, obviously Clay Gordon, just so many people that have just jumped in and they want to help. That I've been getting introductions all around the world, been able to go see some shows. We're excited. We don't want just a trade show. I don't even like calling it a trade show. I like calling it an experience because that's what we want. We want people to go to this show and remember it, because we heard all these fabulous stories of people who went to one of the first Salon du Chocolat and with their grandmother or their mother, and they still remember everything about the show. And that's what we want. So we have the fabulous Hakan Martinson. He's going to be sculpting one of his famous chocolate dragons. So that's going to take place over the 3 days. FCIA is going to be doing some fireside chat type seminars. So if anybody's interested in getting in touch with them, please let me know, and I can put you in touch with who's organizing that. Moran Ovadia, she is doing a fashionista workshop where you basically get to make a mannequin chocolate and you get to put clothing on her with molded chocolate. It's a workshop experience. It takes about 60 to 75 minutes and they are fantastic. We have our fashion showcase where we're going to have all of the models, all the mannequins on pedestals displaying all the beautiful and fabulous pastry, confectionery, and chocolate dresses that we have. We're going to have the Culinary Theater where we have amazing people performing like Jacques Torres and Daniel Corpus and Ron Ben Israel and Martin Howard. And I could keep going on and on and on. We have some fantastic people there. Then we have our our bean to bar area. And that's basically like our education area. We want to educate the public on how your cacao pod goes to a chocolate bar or a bonbon or whatever it is you're eating along the way, because I know a lot of the exhibitors, and you probably will back me up on this, is it's important to educate the consumer and let them know why they're going to be spending this amount of money for a chocolate bar, because the process, and it's just so expensive, but it is so good and it is great for you. And then the last but not least is our kids zone. And our kids zone is going to be comprised of 3 different sections. We're going to have Ronnie Sue's chocolates with chocolate donated by Valrona. And she's going to be making truffles to bring ahead of time. And then the kids are going to be able to decorate them with all kinds of stuff. Chef Rubber has given us a bunch of stuff. Just a lot of people are helping. Then we're going to have a small little bean to bar area with Nettie Atkinson. And she is going to be reading from her children's book, The Chocolate Seed, and she'll have books for sale and she can give autographed copies. And she'll be educating the kids. They'll be able to taste raw cacao pulp and then the actual chocolate at the end. And then Kristen Atkinson, last but not least, is going to be doing our arts and crafts area that we're going to have there. And they can paint with cocoa butter that Daniel Domingo donated. They can do cacao necklaces. It's just going to be a fantastic, fantastic time. And last but not least, one of the things that we were told was not so great in 2019 were the long lines that people had to stand in because they had so many people attend. They had 14,000 people in 2 days. So we immediately decided to do timed entry. So we're hopeful, we're confident that that's going to help. There's still going to be a lot of crowds, guys. Be prepared to, get swamped, but that is a good problem to have. But hopefully we can, kind of mitigate that a little bit and everybody will be happy and just have a great time. So thank you guys for participating, not just in the show, but here as well. And I look forward to hearing what you guys have to say and how you're excited about the show and what you're going to be doing.
Before we jump into the interviews, there are a couple of bits of housekeeping that I want to share. The first one of which is that for every post of PodSafe Chocolate, for every episode of PodSafe Chocolate, there is a post on the Chocolate Life. And you will be able to follow along and visit the websites of everybody who is going to join us today. And there's also a link to a post on the Chocolate Life, which gives a background, including lists of people who are going to be giving classes. So the aforementioned Martin Howard, who's also known as the Pie Queen, although Chocolatina Q Dessert is how I learned about Martin many, many years ago. Jacques Torres and when he's giving his classes. So you can use both of these resources to be able to figure out exactly what it is that you'd like to do when you arrive at the salon. So when we get there, what I want to do is recognize that we have people who represent companies from around the world. So Jeanette, I understand you're dialing in from the Dominican Republic, from your factory, which is really, really cool. I know, Lucia, you represent a company that is founded in Hokkaido, Japan, right?
Yes.
Although you're probably in New York City, if I
Yes.
get that right, right?
Absolutely.
The people from Chocolatin, I know, like Gila and Cameron?
Gila and Jerome.
Jerome, that's right. There was something in there. Although you're in New York City, I know, Jerome, you're originally from Paris, and you're bringing, Parisian-style chocolates. And then Mona, whom I've known since 2015 or 2016, when I first was introduced to your brand. You're in New Hampshire. And everybody's got a bunch of different things that they're doing. But what I want to do is I want to start off with you, Jeanette. What I'd like to understand is, what are you bringing to the salon? What are people going to be able to experience when they visit your stand, right? And what is it about the Salon du Chocolat as a show, as a place to exhibit your work that attracts you for the most part.
Thank you, Clay and Sharona. We're really excited to be a part of Salon du Chocolat New York. So I'm Gianna Liriano, CEO and co-founder of Inaru. But I'm a born and raised New Yorker, so this is like a very round, like a great homecoming for our brand. We'll be bringing products that we're making here at our factory in the Dominican Republic. Inaru is a B2B and D2C business, so we produce cocoa mass, liquor, nibs, couverture, butter, powder. So we'll be bringing some of our products for B2B customers to support other chocolatiers and chocolate makers even who are sourcing mass. And we will also be bringing a variety of our branded products like bars in different sizes, bonbons. We have beverages as well. And we're really excited to reacquaint people with the Dominican Republic in a new context. Many people in chocolate know that the Dominican Republic is a very important region, especially for fine flavor and organic cacao. It is a pretty large majority of organic cacao worldwide, but there are not many chocolate makers that people know about. And we're a new entrant, and we're really excited to introduce ourselves in my hometown.
Yeah, as I recall, there are several companies. Let's see if I can zoom out on this. There are several companies from the Dominican Republic. As we were discussing, Janet, before the start, I have been to the Dominican Republic on a number of occasions. I have really, really fabulous memories of visiting Sabana de la Mar on the Bay of Samana and being at Caño Hondo, which is this really, really private resort in Los Aitices, the national park, and getting to understand, the history of Dominican cacao, which is, really quite remarkable, and getting to know the people and really loving the people. And I'm really excited. People, when they think of the Dominican Republic, they might think of rum or they might think of cigars. They may not know about cacao. They may not know about the chocolate. So I think this is just a fabulous opportunity to do that. Do you remember your stand number by any chance? If people are watching this and they know exactly where to go?
I'm going to find it while other people speak.
That's a tip for Sharona. And just to let everybody know, Sharona, you have a code that people can use if they want to go to checkout.
I do.
And get a 25% discount.
Yep. Thank you for bringing that up. I'm going to say a magic promo code, and that is good for 25% off a ticket for the chocolate show. So stay tuned for the code.
All right. So we're going to have to stay tuned. Okay.
Yes. Inaru, it looks like you're in booth 245.
Okay.
Annette, 245.
All right. So what I want to do is I'm going to stay internationally, but internationally, it's hard to know because you both are international companies, Chocolatin and Royce. I'm going to start off with Royce, if you don't mind. Right, guys, because I actually am familiar with the brand, right? So, I'm a New Yorker, right? And I visited Royce on a number of occasions, and we're seeing pictures of an unusual style of chocolate behind you, Lucia,
Yes.
which is called Nama, which I know from Paris, from a Japanese maker by the name of Sadaharu Aoki, where in Paris they're called pave. So tell us about what this Nama chocolate is, what makes it unique and interesting, and what it is that Royce, how does Royce perceive the Salon? Because as I recall, you have exhibited at the Salon in New York in previous years, right? So this is not your first venture.
This is not our first time, and this is exactly what the Salon du Chocolat New York event is all about, bringing together chocolate artisans and chocolatiers from all over the world. And this is such a great platform, not only for us, but for other artisans as well, to showcase our confections and also engage and interact with our chocolate enthusiasts and just really share a common passion and interest in the chocolate making process. So this chocolate behind me is our signature Nama chocolate. It is soft chocolate ganache dusted with cacao powder. And it is famous for the key ingredient, which is a Hokkaido cream. And this Hokkaido cream is what gives it the soft, velvety texture that just melts in your mouth. Let me give you a little bit of a history about
No. I just have to jump in here because I think this is really cool. So number one, so when we think, for example, about Swiss milk chocolate, right? One of the things that makes Swiss milk chocolate so yummy, yummy, yummy is contented cows, which are on these alpine hills, right? Above Schwyz, right? Where I've been. So I've been to dairy farms in the hills, in Schwyz, which is where the word Switzerland comes from. So when people think about single origin chocolates, they tend to think about the origin of the cocoa beans. but they don't tend to think about the origin of the other ingredients. So what makes Hokkaido cream, right, so special compared with all of the other creams that are out there in the world?
Yeah, so Hokkaido, which is the northernmost island of Japan, the Hokkaido prefecture, is such an ideal region with a perfect climate, and they are famous for the high quality of the dairy products, right? And Hokkaido as well is where our facility is. This is where we create all of our confections. And not only do we source ingredients from Hokkaido, our products actually we source from different parts of the world. We source also cacao beans, not only from one region, but from multiple regions, in addition to the cacao beans from our from the Royce Cacao Farm in Colombia.
So very, very, very cool. So, so if I'm looking at that picture behind you, I would look and say a nama is what I think of as a slabbed ganache. So you're making a ganache, right? And you're
Yes.
putting it into a frame, and then you're
Yes.
slicing it on probably a guitar, right? For people who know that stuff. And then rather than running it through an enrober or dipping it, all you're doing is you're dusting the outside of it with
Dusted with
cocoa
cacao
powder.
powder. Yes.
Do you do any with green tea powder? Because that's the first time I experienced.
Yes.
I was in Paris at Aoki, and he had these pavés dusted in green tea powder, which were, oh
I
my
was
gosh.
going to mention that is
Yeah.
true. We are going to bring it at the salon, the chocolat event. We are going to bring our signature Nama chocolate in matcha flavor. It is actually one of our top favorite. It is a soft chocolate ganache dusted with white chocolate powder, and it is infused with matcha and cherry liqueur. So it has a little bit of a sweet taste. And a lot of people love this because, as you know, for all the chocolate enthusiasts who would like to indulge, they would want to have some sort of health benefits. So we have been having a lot of followers try our matcha confections. So in addition to the Nama chocolate matcha, we're also taking with us at the Salon du Chocolat event the matcha bar. These are individually wrapped chocolate bars with matcha, a combination of nuts and crispy puff.
Well, sign me up. I'm just loving the combination of flavors and textures which are associated with that. But speaking of health, right? So the two other companies that are going to be joining us, Mona Shangar's with Amore de Mona, but Chocolatiers from Paris. So I hope you don't mind, Mona. We're going to stay internationally themed, and so we have this hybrid Paris-New York combination going on. So welcome, Gilles and Jerome, here today. So I'm going to hide myself and I'm going to listen to you. So tell me a little bit about what inspired you in the first place to get into the business, because my guess is this is not your first career. It's not your first rodeo, right? And so I understand that you're from France. You lived in Paris. You came to New York City. You moved to New York City, and then you were inspired somehow to get into the chocolate business. So, I've been to Paris a bunch of times. So tell us about the inspirations, who you love, and what the experience that you want to bring to the Salon du Chocolat this year.
Okay, look, first of all, who I love my wife. So that's
Smart
why.
answer.
That's why I came. That's why I came to New York, and then it's a part of my childhood, and it's like we call this like a legacy, an heritage, a legacy coming from my dad. But every time we used to travel in France, we have every cities, every places. My dad used to take me to his favorite chocolate store. So we have a chocolate culture inside the family, and also the name of a little bit of history about my name. Why Chocolat in Paris, and why Chocolat? Because it's a pun between chocolat and acne, and acne is my last name. So it's a tribute to my dad, who unfortunately passed away in 2018. I regret that he couldn't see that. He would be for sure very proud. And then, so this is the first step of the name, and also, so I met my wife in 2012. So I used to make a lot of back and forth between Paris and New York. Originally, I was working in finance as a hedge fund manager, And what happened? First thing that I noticed is I was looking for to try to eat exactly the same quality of food, like the French, the French food, the savoir-faire, like the know-how French here. And I was finding a kind of lack in this kind of product. And so first of all, we decided. So that's how the idea came up to do some chocolates here. And then also, it was very important for me to leave the factory in Paris, like to also have the choice of a large choice of high-end ingredients European, like from Spain, from Italy, from Switzerland, Belgium, everything. So basically, we import the chocolates from Paris to here, and we named all our chocolate after a museum or a city in France. Like for example, we have a ganache infused with caramel named Tour Eiffel. It means that we would like to make like the consumer try every bite that he has. If he closes his eyes, I would like him to see the Eiffel Tower. So also I have also like a ganache infused with mango. And the name is Monte Carlo because it's a place I used to go to with my dad during the summer, Monaco, south of France. So every chocolate has an history, and we are looking to share our experience. It's a kind of experience of my childhood, like wherever I used to go in vacation, which neighborhood I go to Paris. Let's say my favorite museum is the Louvre, so I have a chocolate named the Louvre, Le Marais. Le Marais is a ganache infused with coconut. I have also a marzipan called Montaigne, Avenue Montaigne, famous for all the fashion store like Dior, Louis Vuitton, and so we can't wait to share all our new. So we do chocolates and treats. We do also we're gonna have honey. We will have chestnut cream. We will have teddy bear marshmallows.
Mostly like French style chocolate, but at the same time, we're also vegan, we're gluten-free and dairy-free. We're also kosher. We saw that there was a lack in the market of a good vegan chocolate that tastes silky, that you have like a creamy interior. It's the quality of the ingredients that we use that gives a vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free chocolate not feeling, so you don't feel guilty eating and you want to enjoy something sweet and also tastes like friends, So that was important for us.
And right now what I'm doing is, on today's post, there are links to the websites of everybody who's going to be here. And so this looks like, of what I would think of as a very, very traditional box selection.
Right.
These are slabbed and enrobed ganaches, pralines, and other kinds of centers. This is a particular gift box selection. But, when I think about the traditional French confectioners, right, this is exactly what it is that I'm looking for. And I'm listening to the flavor selections you're going, and I'm going, Americans, marron glacé, chestnuts, it's really, really something unusual for us. But I know that, a really, really good marron glacé or just a fabulous chestnut cream is a wonderful experience to go and enjoy. And so I can recommend, listen, stopping by if, there are a number of other, Paris-based confectioners that have shops in New York City. But if you want to actually talk to the people who are involved in making the product and learn more about them, that's one of the great things about a show like the Salon du Chocolat. You can come in, you can be exposed to products from Japan, products from the Dominican Republic, products from France, and speak to the people who are directly involved in sourcing the ingredients, understand what drives them, taste their passion as a part of your passion for understanding chocolate. And fabulous. I'm hoping to be there, everybody. So I'm hoping to meet all of you in person and taste everything. This is news to you, Sharona, by the way.
Yes, I was about to say.
Yeah, this is news to you. I just wanted to drop it as a thing today. And then what I want to do before we jump into a couple of more questions that I have just for everybody is introduce everybody to Mona Shangaris. Now, I must admit that I have known Mona since about 2015 or 2000. 2016,
Yeah.
at a chocolate show, not the Salon du Chocolat that I helped organize, where I met you, your daughter. I introduced you to my daughter. And so we have this family collection. But tell us a little bit about, you know, so what makes Amore di Mona? What caused you to get into the chocolate business in the first place, and how your journey has evolved over the course of the last decade, and what it is that you're bringing to the salon this year, and why the Salon du Chocolat in New York City.
So I
Right.
started out.
And just I just want to let everybody know, Mona called me about 10 minutes before this episode started, and she's in the back of a car. She had just gotten off on an airplane. She's on. You're not at home. You're not in your office. You're in a car dealership or something like that.
I am. I'm in a car
Okay.
dealership. I was
Okay.
supposed to fly
So
yesterday, but I had to change it to today for a variety of
yeah.
reasons. But I'm very pleased to be able to join everyone today. So the genesis of the company is, as it is with many, necessity is the mother of invention. When I was in high tech, I noticed that there was one gift you could give uh, to anyone anywhere in the world without worry, and that was dark chocolate. We had made a number of mistakes in marketing, giving wine to someone French who would take it as, "What do you mean? I can't pick my own wine," or giving clogs to someone in China, which means your life is limited. So that was the gift that made sense in the position I had in marketing in high tech. And I've always loved chocolate since I was a young child, and I've had allergies. So because of my allergies, I saw that there was nothing in the marketplace that could accommodate someone like me who had also been fortunate and had international experiences and wanted that quality level in a chocolate. So,
If I could jump in really quickly, we're talking more than 20 years ago, before, allergen free and
yes,
chocolates, which were, very carefully formulated so that they didn't, so that people who had allergies and other dietary restrictions could taste them. So this is quite some time ago, as I
yes,
recall from our discussions. Yeah.
yes. Well, initially I started doing baked goods and we couldn't source the chocolate, so we had to make our own. I even talked to Guittard, and they were using sugar alcohols, and that wasn't something we wanted to do. We wanted to stick with, again, high quality. Uh, they had to be common allergen free, gluten free, vegan choices, but we wanted to be sure, again, that the taste, was extremely important to us, as well as the health benefits of what we were doing. So we started in 2005 with the baking, and our first customer was Whole Foods. And then I shifted over to chocolate because I liked it better. The margins were better, and it's like this is my tribe, the chocolate group, because I'm somewhat of a nerd. I was a geology major, um, so chocolate making
I
came
think
easy for
most of
me.
us are coming to this from a very, very different first career and a
Yes,
second career
yes,
and maybe
yeah.
even a third career. But if I can, Mona, what is it about New York City, and what is it about the Salon du Chocolat specifically, right? What is it about the market? Because Sharona, one of the things I want to do is, if you can go just through how many of the people who are exhibiting. I know that Chocolacni is also working with dietary restricted, vegan, gluten free, those kinds of things as well. So Sharona, how many people who are going to be exhibiting fit into that category? But Mona, again, getting back to you, what is it about the salon in New York City specifically as an experience that you're looking to reach out to a new group of consumers or people who know you? Let me know. What do you think?
So over time, as we were offering what we do, the learning happened that it was on the West Coast and in the Northeast that developed into our predominant customer base.
Yeah.
And then we began to come to New York, and New York has been very kind to us. Like, we've been in the New York Times 4 years in a row as the best nut-free chocolate, even though we're, again, 100% common allergen-free, which is peanuts, soy, tree nuts, eggs, milk. So that's why we're in New York, because it is a 40% of our business is in the Northeast, which is also part of why we moved to New Hampshire the other part was to formulate chocolates with maple syrup instead of the agave nectar that we'd been using from the onset. So we have introduced progressively in our line more maple offerings, like our ganaches are made with what's called maple cream. It's not milk. It's cooled, cooked, whipped maple syrup. That's all it is. And then we add chocolate and other flavorings to that, and that's very popular. And we're looking to expand that in terms of the different offerings when we're in New York this event.
And I can let everybody know, I've tasted these products before, and I've tasted chocolate made with liquid sweeteners like agave nectar. And so it's a very different melting experience, a different experience in the mouth. And I can tell you, it is really challenging to do well and to do consistently. It's
Yes.
really, really hard to do to make a chocolate. And I've been fortunate enough to have a tasting box. I'm looking forward to seeing you again in person and following
Thank
up,
you.
in person with some of the things that I've tasted. But it's been a lot of fun. So, Sharona, if I'm coming to chocolate and I have a dietary concern, whatever it is, how many of the exhibitors who are going to be at the salon this year have made some sort of representation around, that sort of health benefit? Do you know?
We have between 5 and 7 currently, and they range from vegan to gluten-free. So we do have a good amount of exhibitors that anybody with any kind of allergies like that, they can participate. And we actually are getting a lot of requests for vegan chocolate. That's like becoming the new buzzword or hip, and people are just wanting to, I don't know, be more conscious of what they're eating.
Right, so I do want to point out that this is the Salon du Chocolat website, and this is the page where the currently confirmed exhibitors are listed. And so you can find out, and I believe that now all of these have links. So hey guys, Chocolatni, you got to give them a photo so they can put the photo up on
We'll
the
do
page.
it.
Yeah,
Right.
please.
But you can
That's
find
not our logo.
No.
and they're not in alphabetical order, and they're not in but here we have Inaro, so here you are, Janet, but next to you is Cacao. They're also from the Dominican Republic, as I know. Royce is here, so you can go and you can find, we have a number of different countries. So I know that Via Cuyaya is from Ecuador. And so, yeah, a bunch of international participants as well. You can go there. Old New York City favorite Lilac is going to be there. Hey, here you are, Ramona. So you can go to this page and you can go, oh, here are the people that I want to go and visit. And if you've never heard, for example, of Royce Chocolate before, because it's a brand that many people may not be familiar with, this is a link to their website, and you can go and learn about the products that they have. So when you show up, you can be knowledgeable about what it is they're going to be presenting, which is just really, really a great thing. I love that.
Thank you. And if I may add, Clay, we're going to offer chocolate tasting at a 3-day event. So please feel free to stop by booth 427 to try our chocolates.
Great. Absolutely. So by the way, we have a private chat going on here. So if I look away, I might be looking at the private chat, and I'm looking to see if there are any comments or questions from any of the live audience. I mean, there is, if you are a chocolate company and you have been in contact with the organizers of the salon and haven't made a decision to attend, you can ask a question and Sharona will ask the question. If you have a question for me or if you have a question for any of our guests, go into the live chat on YouTube or on the in the comments on LinkedIn and Facebook, put it in, I will get it, and then I can put it up on screen and ask people as well. Janet, if I can, because you seem to, there's something you want to say, and I don't know exactly what that is. And I'm looking at this and I just can't get a specific 2-shot for some reason. And so it's really crazy. And your microphone is muted. So it looks like.
Perfect. So, yeah. Well, I was pleasantly surprised to hear from the other participants their focus on vegan, gluten-free as well. All of Inaro's products are vegan, gluten-free, celiac safe, tree nut free as well. But what I wanted to share about why we were so excited about Salon du Chocolat and why a visitor might be excited, in speaking with chocolate makers and chocolatiers, you'll never know if an idea that you have for a chocolate might be taken on by the creators, which I think is one of the most exciting things about participating in these events or attending and buying chocolate. You can really have a positive impact in terms of what they take on. One of our products that we'll have there is our white chocolate hibiscus, which was actually a request from a visitor at Salon du Chocolat Paris. They wanted a cashew milk chocolate bar, and we thought that that was a great idea. And we went ahead and made a cashew milk chocolate bar. So if you're listening and you're wondering, well, why should I go? Do I want to buy a bunch of chocolate? It's your opportunity to, hang out with a bunch of Willy Wonkas. So I'm really excited to be there. I'm excited to eat all of this chocolate, and I can co-sign the Royce Namas are really good. I was just in Japan and I spent way too much money on them. So I agree.
Yay!
So the answer to the question is yes, you want to go there, and yes, you want to buy chocolate, right? So just all that,
definitely.
right? And I would encourage people to get out of their comfort zone. It's really easy to go to an exhibit like this and be overwhelmed, and then go, oh, I'm only going to buy things from the people I know or from people who are near. I'm going to say, here is a flavor I've never heard of before, but I don't want to take the risk of buying something and not liking it. And I can, tell from personal experience, it's that pushing that flavor envelope of going places. For example, you said hibiscus, right? But knowing where I am, I would say Jamaica, right? Because that is a Spanish term in Mexico and many other places I know for doing it. So, right, just for people who may not know that, it's not Jamaica. It's Jamaica, right, for flavorings. And I remember being at a festival recently, and somebody was doing purple yam, right, as a flavoring inside of a white chocolate bar. And it was like, oh my gosh. I mean, for people who don't really like purple yams, right, because it's an acquired taste. Let me say about that, right? But to go and have that combination with white chocolate, I'm going, oh, was revelatory. So, let's do this, right? So, Jerome, what is the single most unusual flavor combination that you guys make that you want people to come to you and ask, I'd like to taste X and Y and Z? Do you have one? Do you have an unusual one?
I'm trying to think if we do. I feel like we try to make flavors that aren't so, out of the box. This way you can enjoy the whole variety of what's inside the box, and not just, eat the ones you like and throw away the ones you don't,
I would say, I was looking at my list of products. I think because we are still at the beginning, I think we wanted to be classic first, and then we will probably do some extravagant and unusual new flavors and new territory. I would say I would encourage people to come try our ginger and grapefruit pills covered in dark chocolate.
Ooh.
Usually everybody
together or separately?
Ginger
okay. Separately. I'm just saying, no, candy the grapefruit in ginger syrup.
Yeah. So because usually people knows, and we are also well known for our famous orange pills covering dark chocolate, and we do also lemon pills covering dark chocolate. But what I like to make you discover, guys, is the ginger and the grapefruit pills covering dark chocolates. If you like ginger, you're gonna fall in love with our ginger pill.
People think when you think of ginger and chocolate, sometimes it doesn't go for everybody. But once you try it, it's fresh candied ginger covered in dark chocolate. It's delicious.
I am totally down with that. So if I can, I want to jump to Lucia again, and I'm saying that properly. It's Lucia, not Lucia, correctly?
Yes, Lucia.
Okay. So we had this conversation. I love this correspondence we had this morning before we started.
I know you're so nice. Thank you for that.
Well, one of the things I learned is about making a connection. And so I wanted to make that connection. So I was involved, for people who don't know, I was involved in the World Pastry Forum and the National and World Pastry Team Championships in the early to mid 2000s. And it's where I met, I think about French chef, Jacques Therese, I met really and got to know and befriend as a result of my involvement with that. He was the head judge. And if you go and take a look at the collar on his jacket, you notice that it's red, white, and blue and upside down, which means that he's an MOF, a Meilleur Ouvrier de France. So the youngest pastry chef ever. So little bits of history, which are really, really important to understand. But I was talking about the fact that in the mid 2000s, I was looking at the Japanese teams, and their mastery of technique was insane. You take French philosophy with the precision and craftsmanship, and attention to meticulous detail. which the Japanese are known for. But they were trying very, very hard to take, ume and shiso and, all these other ingredients, which are very, very typical, natto, very, very typical Japanese ingredients, and really having trouble making them work for European judges. And so they would get really high technical marks, but lower flavor marks. And one of the things that I know over the course of the last 20 years is that, companies like Tadaharu Aoki, people like Esquayama have done just a really good job. Has that been a challenge for Royce, taking these very, very traditional Japanese flavors and, making them, accessible to people who may not have tasted, well, many people have tasted shiso and sushi, but they don't know that that's what they were tasting. Right. So how does that work? Right. Because I'm curious, from that, from coming from a food culture, which is so very, very different.
Yes. So here at Royce Chocolates, we are very passionate about producing chocolates that are ethically sourced. And we actually are passionate about sharing the joys of how Japan does chocolate, which is actually the fusion of Japanese culture and flavors, and this beautifully merges with the Western culinary traditions and palate as well, just as we discussed earlier. And I believe that the global market is very excited about trying new flavors. And our founder, Yasuhiro Yamazaki, when he started Royce Chocolate in 1983, he was committed to producing decadent confections, right? And for this reason, we started working in ensuring that we produce only products with excellent quality, and also using the state-of-the-art production techniques in our facility in Hokkaido. So I think that this event, it will be a very good opportunity for us to showcase our unique confections and have everybody try our chocolate.
State of the art. So I'm imagining some, some wizened, aged, Japanese mother or father who's been working in the factory for 40 years, who's like going through.
Yes, 40 years, exactly.
That's what I want to see. Because, when I think about, somebody's making soy sauce, it's the 19th generation soy sauce.
I am very happy to invite you when you visit Hokkaido. I did tell you about the Royce Cacao and Chocolate Town. And we do have a museum where you can actually tour and experience the farm to bar experience journey in creating the chocolate. So please come and visit us. I'd be more than happy to show you.
Absolutely. And what I want to say is, also is that people may not know is that Japan is now a cacao producing country. All right. So there are farms which are producing cocoa in the South for the most part, so a little more temperate zone. And there are makers in Japan who are using cacao, which is grown in Japan. So that's a really, really cool thing as well. What I want to do now is I want to go, and we have a comment from somebody in the audience. This is Heron Oz. I hope I'm pressing Heron as opposed to Haroon, who says the recent success of Dubai's chocolate bar shows how a local brand. So what I want to say is that Dubai chocolate was invented by a pastry chef, a British Egyptian entrepreneur who was based in Dubai. She has a company called Fixed Dessert Chocolate. And she is the first one to take a relatively simple idea, I think, which is to take a nut paste, pistachio praline, pistachio paste, mix it with a kind of phyllo dough, whereas the French would use fouilletine, right? They would be using a kind of for a texture, right? Right. And then for some reason, through good social media marketing or something or other, we have this idea of Dubai chocolate, which is not a brand of Fixed Dessert Chocolate, right? Which is the point that I wanted to point out. It's a local brand, can go global with the right strategy. Do you think this proves that smart use of social media and digital market can make any brand successful regardless of origin? Or do you believe factors like luxury positioning, market demand, and distribution networks still matter more than online hype? I'm going to let everybody answer that question who wants to answer that question. It's a fabulous question, but can I answer it first? Is everybody okay with that? All right. So you can have the greatest product in the world and have it distributed everywhere, but if nobody knows about it, you're not going to be successful. You can have a meh product with great marketing and fabulous distribution, and you can be successful anywhere. right? As long as the flavor profiles match expectations, or there's some other aspect of the brand, which might have to do with exclusivity or association or partnership with somebody else's brand, you can do that, right? One of the things I think that's interesting about this Dubai chocolate bar craze phenomenon, right, is that it is having an impact on the supply chain for pistachios around the world.
Sure.
There's so much demand for
Definitely.
pistachio paste that the price of pistachio paste is just like gone through the roof recently. I first ran into what people might call a Dubai style bar. Francois Pralou has a series of bars called the Crazy Bars Infernal, right? And he has one which is hazelnut paste, one which is almond paste, and one which is pistachio paste, right? And they're my favorite candy bars in the world, right? Just that concept. And so I like this idea. But I think that it is a place of being in the right time, at the right time, with the right product. And somebody picked it up and just blew it out, right? But you can have that kind of fame online, but if you actually can't get it to people's hands, where there aren't people who are taking the recipe idea and are trying to replicate it, we don't know where it's going to go. So, Mona, you and I have had these discussions about, distribution, getting your product available to people. What are your thoughts about, having this, virality, which is going to take what you're doing? I mean, how do you address this problem of having the product and, how you market it to people?
Well, as you've also illuminated, taking care of your existing customer base is incredibly important. I think in any business, the referral process comes through, that loving care with your existing customers. So that is something we pay a lot of attention to first and foremost. And in terms of the marketing, we try different things in different times, because as I was fortunate once to sit next to Ogilvy on the airplane of Ogilvy and Saatchi, he said 50% will work, 50% won't, and then it'll work for a while and then it won't, right? So we have to keep our eyes and open and our ears to the ground for the changes as they occur and be responsive to those as they do. So for instance, in my world, when I first started, I was that weird woman that had this free, that free, everything, haha, is it taste free, right? And then we've gone from that to where you've got 70 million, they say, of 340 in the US alone with, food sensitivities and allergies. And now most everyone with a food offering has to at least consider, right, these dietary concerns, at least some of them, right? And the big ones, as you've been discussing right now, are gluten-free and vegan. Those are the big ones right now. But again, keep open as things do evolve. So marketing wise, we need to try a variety of things, and we've had different kinds of results. We used to have pretty good results from Facebook, and then now it's more Instagram. When we were doing bulk bars, which we're not now because of the cost of making chocolate, the recipes on Pinterest, drove a lot of business. So it varies, and I think we have to look at it expansively in terms of what's going on in the customer marketplace, and then specifically in what it is that you offer and where, as well as, like you brought up, Clay, you have to decide your life, right? How do you want to live it? Do you want to, end up a CPG, run up the food train and get bought by Mondelez? Or do you want to be a fine artist and this is your gift to your community, however large or small you choose to define it?
Yeah, as someone who went to art school, I'm definitely in the arts camp as opposed to being bought out by big chocolate. So, Janet, you're in the Dominican Republic, and even though, listen, right, it is one in the Caribbean, it is one of the closest and easiest get to destinations when it comes to being able to visit cocoa farms and be able to visit a wide range of chocolate makers. So it's easy to do, and I can recommend it. I don't recommend getting a hotel in Boca Chica. Go someplace else. If you're going to do it, go and visit the Old Quarter in Santo Domingo. It's a fabulous place to go and visit, but get into the countryside and, forget the resorts in Puerto Plata. Don't go to the resorts in the East, find yourself in some place. But you're exporting from the Dominican Republic to the United States, and you've got a marketing challenge as a Dominican company. How do you think about these questions in terms of?
I love these questions, and thanks for the opportunity to answer it, because it's very much present for a brand like Inaru. So quick history. We are a pandemic baby. Inaru was founded in 2020, February 2020. So you could think about the timing. The world shut down in March. And, there's a common understanding of where quality chocolate comes from through the history of the commercialization of chocolate. There is a growing awareness of where the quality cacao comes from. Consumers, especially those that care about health concerns and traceability, are now becoming aware that it's not only in Europe that there's fine chocolate making. There's amazing makers in Asia, like Royce, new emerging makers in the Middle East, like the Dubai chocolate is a great example. And the challenge that we set out to solve for that is to re-educate the consumer to make a comparison. If great French wine uses great French grapes and there's great French artists, or Swiss or Belgian, pick a country, that same ability to create is available in the places that produce the cacao. So that was but the marketing challenge is, how do you educate the consumer against that public perception that only good chocolate comes from certain regions in the world? And the way that we've answered that is letting, one, the beauty of the product speak for itself, letting the impact that we make with our profit share and direct sourcing speak for itself, and ultimately things have to taste good. I do think, to answer the gentleman's question, or maybe it was, I don't recall the name, what we've learned with the Dubai chocolate is that today's consumer is not going to accept top-down trend setting all the time. Like, there is a dynamic conversation that's happening where makers and creators have to be more beholden to the market in terms of what they think is premium, what they think is luxury. And there's an emerging class of premium buyers in many new markets like the Middle East, like Asia, like Latin America, whose tastes and palates need to be considered, I think, if you're going to be successful in the future. So Inaru sees itself as, maybe one of the new guard, as a larger factory, but still small in terms of craft, to meet those needs. I think in terms of marketing and social media, you have to be creating as many opportunities as you can for people to connect authentically with your brand. But black swan moments like the Dubai chocolate, you cannot control. What you can control is the authenticity of your story. And I think it's dangerous to trend chase. Just be clear on who you are, and then the right people will find you and the right people will elevate you. But I think I love a challenge. We're having fun. I can't complain.
And I would prefer to use the word genuine rather than authentic, because I think authentic is overused. So, Jerome, I mean, you're importing into the United States. You have these questions, and what you've done is you've chosen to start off classic, right? Rather than going, as Janet said, trend chasing. So for you, where does that balance work for Chocolatiers? And you, or you're on the creative side and your wife is on the marketing side, and where does it work for you?
So that's how I don't know, everything happened like you know what, I think we didn't really think about all this marketing and strategy and everything. I think we probably also, like Janet said, we are probably a baby of the pandemic, because we started to think about it during the pandemic, and we jump inside like we have the feeling that we are learning everything step by step. So basically, how our role are done. Like I'm more on the sourcing of the ingredients, also the flavor, because I'm the French one, I'm the picky one. So I'm trying to have and to eat.
Americans can't be picky.
You're right. I made a lot of picky consumer, by the way. They are very picky. When they want to be picky, I think they are more picky than the French, by the way. So it's because they go and they read all the ingredients and stuff behind the box. So
different picky.
It's a different kind of
different. I don't know if we're more picky, but we are different picky in a different kind of way.
So
and she's I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm being a little bit of aware of time. and time.
Okay, so
commitment.
now so quick. So basically, I'm doing the sourcing of the ingredients, also the sales part, and she's really on the I don't know. She took a passion for the marketing and the creation and the conception of the boxes we but basically we do everything together. Like she's with me on every shows. We are on sale as a pop-up sometimes by Bloomingdale's. She's leaving her job. She's a makeup artist actually. She's still a makeup artist, but sometimes she's also the wife of the chocolatier. So it's a very fun it's a very fun adventure, and we are very happy about the joy and the happiness that we are bringing to everybody that came to us to just purchase a box, and the excitement is something that we really feel. So of course, I invite everybody in the chat in this podcast to come and to join us and try our product. I will do the same. Also, I'm very curious about all the flavors and everything that I heard today.
That's great. So I do want a real quick note to say to Heron, and again, I'm hoping it's pronounced, is it Heron, Haroon, and I'm guessing it's Heron because there's no O in it. If we answered your question for you, I'm hoping that we did answer that. But now I want to jump to Lucia, because Japan is known for getting into things in a particular kind of way. So I'm going to share this with people. I actually have a tattoo. Right. And the tattoo is Koko Otaku. Right. And so if anybody knows the Japanese word otaku, it means geek or nerd or somebody who is really, really obsessed about a particular thing. So we might have a pasokan or a personal computer, pasokan otaku. Right. And so I decided that I was a Koko Otaku many, many years ago. So this question about, social media awareness and being a part of things and how that has Royce seen a particular trend go viral in Japan around flavors, not necessarily associated with you. I'm just very, very curious because for example, I know that one of the only places in the world where ruby chocolate has caught on is Japan, right? Just because I know because the makers of it spent lots of money promoting it in Japan. But can you think of a Japanese kind of thing which has caught on, sort of like Dubai chocolate?
Matcha. Let's start with matcha. I mean, if you remember, Clay, like in 2012, right? Like there weren't a lot of matcha boutiques in New York City. Let's start here, right? And people just started to see the health benefits of matcha. And where did it come from originally? From Japan. Right. And then people started to be more welcoming of the idea of drinking green tea and then infusing matcha in confections, right, in desserts, in all sorts of food. So this is one thing that Japan is very good at. Like, for example, at Royce Chocolate, we start with a very good product, right? You have a good product, and then you have a loyal customer, and then you take care of your loyal customer. And at the same time, right, you increase your customer base by means of utilizing all these social media channels, all these other platforms, right? And this is an example, the Salon du Chocolat event, like what Sharna mentioned earlier, the education series. We are here at this event because we want to educate our consumers not only about our chocolates, but about the processes, right? What goes into the making of the chocolate. So for this reason, we are here. We want to introduce the processes of making the Japan chocolate, how, the joys of how Japan does chocolate to everybody.
And I just do want to point out for everyone, just because we're getting towards the end and I want to be mindful of time, is that this is the website of the Salon du Chocolat. You can go there and you can do, among other things, buy a ticket. And so, Sharona, do you want to share the special code?
Is everybody ready?
That people,
the promo
yes,
code
please.
is Save Chocolate, all one word.
So all
Save
capitalized,
Chocolate,
S-A-V?
all caps. SAVECHOCOLATE, all caps, all one word, and you get 25% off a ticket. You have until the 28th to purchase this ticket. So through the end of the month, which is the end of this week.
All right. So I put it,
tickets.
Is it chocolat with or without an E?
With an E.
with an E. So it's not
Yes.
Save Chocolat.
Yeah,
Okay,
my
Save
marketing team was
Chocolat.
getting
Okay,
creative.
we got it. Okay, so I put it into the private chat for everyone. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it into the general comments. And again, for 25% off a ticket through February 28th.
Correct.
Okay, so let me do that. So we're sort of at the end of the hour, and I have a lot of things that I could say about this. But what I want to do is I want to give everybody an opportunity to do a final word, right? And so we're going to go in order, but we're going to jump Sharona, and we're going to let you go last. Well, I'm going to go last. But, Janet, final words for today. It's been a pleasure having you here. I'm looking forward to meeting you in person and taking you up on your offer to go and visit in the Dominican Republic. I haven't been there since I think 2015, so it's been way too long.
Oh, it's a completely different country now. You got to come by.
Sure.
I'm excited.
Okay.
Well, thank
Okay.
you, Sharona and Clay, for the opportunity, and for everyone who tuned in. I'm really excited to see everyone at Salon du Chocolat. The beautiful thing about chocolate is that it literally connects the world. You can taste the world through chocolate. You meet all of these amazing people from everywhere. And Salon du Chocolat is honestly one of those positive experiences where it's like the joy of being human and chocolate. Like, just come and have a good time with everyone. So.
Thumbs up, absolutely. Couldn't say more. Jerome, how about yourself? A parting comment?
Yes. So I would like first thank you, Clay, thank you, Sharona, for having us, and we can wait to share with you guys a little taste of France. And as I like to say in my company, chocolate is happiness you can eat. So come share with us your French experience, your French taste, your envie, your anything that you want to try. Come by us, and you will not be disappointed.
Great. Lucia, how about yourself? A final word?
Yes, thank you, Clay and Sharona. Super happy to be here. Please come and visit us, booth 427. We do have chocolate tasting, and you would get to try all of our confections. Thank you.
Right. And okay. And Mona, for you? Listen, listen, I could go on and have these conversations. I have so much to say about, my experience in France with chocolate and all these other kinds of places and the history I have with so many of you, obliquely as well as directly. But Mona, a final word for you. Your microphone is muted.
So I'm very excited to meet all of you wherever I go. The first thing I do is run to all the chocolate stores that are nearby, and at the shows I'll run and meet everyone and try everything. It's just great fun, to be part of this community and to be helpful in any way that I can while I'm here.
That's great. Thank you, Sharona. Parting words from you?
Thank you to all of you who are here with us today. I really appreciate you being here. Thank you, Clay, for giving us this opportunity. And we're just all we're getting really, really pumped, super excited about this show. I can't wait to just see that everybody's faces light up and new networking connections being made. And just chocolate really does it is happiness. It is edible happiness, and so we're excited. Thank you, guys. I look forward to meeting you in person and sampling all the lovely chocolates.
Ooh, yeah. Is that the Big Apple?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be the last word of the podcast.
That looks so good.
Oh, that's so cute. I love that.
Right. So bring it to, well, unfortunately, it's not going to be the last word, because what I'm going to say is this is the post. This is the post for this episode of the PodSafe Chocolate. It is about the preview for 2025. All the links to share with friends, to watch the archived versions on YouTube, LinkedIn, or Facebook in here. If you want to visit the websites of the people who are part of it, they're listed here. You can scroll down. You can also find the link to the Salon du Chocolat website. And there is a post about the Salon du Chocolat on the Chocolate Life, which, among other things, lists some of the featured speakers. And so you can find out some of the people who are doing chef demos and culinary demos and things like that over the course. But there is also on the website a list for everything that's going on in the Culinary Theater, all of the Kids Zone activities, everything that's associated with the fashion show and things like that. I can recommend it. And this is the homepage of the Chocolate Life right now. You can go there. This episode of PodSafe Chocolate, like every episode, is sponsored by you, the visitors, the watchers, the members of the chocolatelife.com. If you're not a member, please go there, become a member, and support the work what they're doing. And if that, what I want to do is end the episode as I end at every episode, and pile on to the happiness and edible happiness and all of the other things that everybody has said here, and remind everybody, if you're working with chocolate and you're not having fun, you might want to consider your life choices. Ciao, everybody. Until the next time.
Thank
Thank you all for
you.
being
Have
here.
a good one,
Bye.
everyone. Thanks.
Right, bye. Hey, Jerome.
Hi.